this building in the past 15 years. So I've been privileged really to have been part of all that. This chapel was built in the middle of the worst famine this country has ever known, when a quarter of the population either died or fled across the world to Canada or America. It's an amazing monument to the dedication and spirit of the Irish people. When you look around the chapel and think what our forefathers did, the faith they had, it's inspiring. The paintings, the carving, even the ceiling with its hundreds of hand-painted boards. They were all done in praise of God, and you really feel it when you are in here. It's just a wonderful legacy left us by the generations gone, and it is an honour and a privilege to take care of it.
Maynooth has one of the most beautiful campuses here in Ireland and extensive verdant grounds which attract both locals and tourists who walk the gardens and find spaces under trees to step away from the hustle and bustle of this busy world.
We're standing in St. Joseph's Square at the moment. This is kind of the heart of St. Patrick's College. If you want to go anywhere, you kind of pass through the square to get to any which building. It's a very peaceful and very tranquil place to walk through. It's set out with formal lawns, and we've 16 rose beds in the centre of it, and mature trees and specimen trees around the outside as well. The grounds were set out in the 12th century when Maynooth Castle was actually set out originally. So a lot of the kind of remnants of the castle grounds are still on the grounds today. One tree on campus that we have is called the Silken Thomas tree, said to be one of the oldest trees in the country. It's said to be planted when the castle was built, so that would make it around 800 years old. The college isn't only used by the priests and the students of the college, it's very much part of Maynooth town, and we love that aspect of providing a place that is benefit to the community as well. So it's a very nice place to be.
It's a great honour for me to be president of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, not just because of the history and heritage of this wonderful campus with its solid stone walls and beautiful buildings, crafted in the praise of God, Laus Deo, but more because of the priests and people who have made this place what it is, a seminary, a pontifical university, and a source of strength and inspiration for Irish Catholics here at home and abroad. Over 11,000 priests have been ordained in this college, and two great missionary orders were founded here in Maynooth. The Maynooth mission to China, known as the Columbians, were founded here 100 years ago, and in 1920, St. Patrick's Missionary Society, the Kiltegans, were founded when Bishop Shanahan appealed to Maynooth seminarians. This seminary has been a cradle of a remarkable number of priests who have served across Ireland and indeed across the world. The Maynooth story goes back to 1795 when the college was first opened here, and the walls of the college are lined with pictures of young men who have gone from here to serve faith communities all over the world. I often find visitors searching among the rows of fresh faces for a beloved parish priest, an inspiring curate, a priest who at some time made some difference for them. Some look for a dear uncle, brother, cousin, surprised by the mop of hair or jawline long since disappeared. But what has never faded is the gentleness, the goodness, the generosity that made the difference. St. Patrick's College is a national treasure, not just for the buildings and the books, but those who have come and still come to Maynooth with energy, idealism, generosity, courage, vision, hope, and the joy of the gospel. This great college is immensely proud of its long tradition of forming seminarians for the priesthood. But in recent years, we have also dramatically increased the number of lay students, men and women studying theology. We now have over 800 students studying theology here in St. Patrick's College.
See today as an overture to your participation in the mission of the church as lay woman and man, as clergy, or as those in the consecrated life.
I graduated from a master's in systematic theology, and I really enjoyed it. It's enriched my own understanding of my faith. Now I can go out and I can share the riches of my faith. So now I've started working in Whitefriars Street Parish, and I'm working as a parish catechist there, basically passing on what I've learned in my own years here and just sharing that joy that we should have after studying something as life-giving as theology.
We are rightly proud of the men and women who have graduated from here as priests, theologians, catechists, teachers, parish pastoral workers. They carry the faith and light that was nurtured here, and they carry our hopes for this college. Since its foundation over 220 years ago, this college and the priests it has formed have helped shape the spiritual and ethical fabric of Ireland and countries around the world. Today, we are continuing the mission of St. Patrick's as a place of
if you want to move around a lot, or if you found that these weren't loud enough, you could use that.
This one is, yeah, you clip it here. Right.
Yeah.
What you call it? Mic.
Oh yeah, it just clips on, yeah.
All right.
And you can put it in your pocket. So you just hold in the top button here, turn it on, and that's on now, and then hold it in, turn it off, and that's it. Okay. So if people are struggling to hear you through here, but these will pick up everything around this whole area, so they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I think when people stop talking, they'll pick up a lot better. I'll go back to the. I suppose I'll go back to the.
Très simple. PowerPoint. Le diaporama et après sur la droite, gauche. Voilà.
Ok, parfait.
Voilà.
Bon, ben, je m'en occupe.
Voilà, le PowerPoint est là. Je laisse ici. Hein.
Super.
Voilà.
Bon, parfait.
C'est
super. Merci.
Ça va aller.
Ah ouais,
Jennifer, was it? Trying to get, I should really have a stand. Wouldn't have time to run over to my room and get it, would I? You're not beginning for another few minutes, is there? Maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I won't need it. And how, is this going to be closed? It is. There be any little thing I could rest this on. Something I could rest this on. Mike's on there. So, yeah, what they're doing is they haven't plugged in the audio cable for the VGA, and it needs to be plugged in to earth it. So, yeah, that should be gone. It should be gone. Yeah, perfect, yeah. Please, no? I need to put somewhere to lift my nose so I can speak up. Otherwise, I'm going to be speaking out. Give me 3 minutes.
machin. Ouais, mais il est en PowerPoint. Il est en PDF.
C'est en PDF,
Et on peut le mettre en...
ça.
Non, non, c'est... On doit le faire descendre. Ah si, ouais. Non, ça marche, ouais. Bah, tu veux que je le fasse? On va le faire. Bah, je vais le faire. Je le fais.
The main input is from here. Main speaker speaks here. Is that right?
No, I think that François, Pedro, and the Cardinal will speak from
Speak
here.
from there.
And the University of Leeds, there will be two. They will come here because they have to use a PowerPoint.
Father Michael will come up to here as well, will he?
I think he wants
yeah.
he's in his room.
He's here. He's here in water. Oh, right, that's him. I thought it was him there. Sorry.
Very good.
Yours and
It's inside.
it's okay.
Perfect.
When you introduce it, Christina,
Ray.
tu les invites dans le moment s'ils vont venir là.
Ray.
Put that over there for the moment.
Ouais. Ok, c'est bon.
Nous, on va s'occuper de faire descendre ce truc-là, de la télécommande, là, pour qu'on puisse voir les gens qui parlent. Après, on fera les PowerPoint dans la transition.
Now, we've done, what did I do now? Expanded there.
Ensuite, il faut faire... On va faire ça.
Place to walk through. It's set out with formal lawns, and we've 16 rose beds in the centre of it, and mature trees and specimen trees around the outside as well. The
Là. Par laptop.
Assel grounds are still on the grounds today. One
Full screen mode.
Is this on? Testing. Ajarje Falche Rove Goler. Muy bienvenidos amigos de todas partes del mundo. Bienvenue à tout le monde. C'est un très grand plaisir, même un honneur de pouvoir vous accueillir ce soir ici à Maynooth. C'est la 4e fois que j'assiste à une assemblée générale de la FIUC, de l'IFCU. Et je dois dire que quand je suis allé à Melbourne il y a 3 ans, j'avais pensé, je suis allé là avec une mission. Et la mission, c'était de vous inviter ici en Irlande. Mais j'avais l'idée que c'était peut-être une mission impossible. Mais vous voyez, vous êtes ici. Et merci beaucoup d'être venus de tous les coins du monde. So, folks, it's been wonderful to be at 4 General Assemblies of IFCU. I had a mission as the former president of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, to welcome you here and to go to Melbourne and issue an invitation to all and sundry to come here. And I wasn't sure if Ireland would be that inviting destination in your mind's eye. But look what we've done. We've organised Mediterranean climate, especially for you. We've gone out of our way to order 6 weeks of sunshine in anticipation of today. And here you all are, looking resplendent. So thank you for coming to St. Patrick's College, Maynooth. And as we say in Ireland, 100,000 bienvenus, 100,000 falche, 100,000 bienvenidos, 100,000 welcomes. It's great to have the IFCU family. Now I will do the decent thing and introduce myself, because I'm just going to be compere here today. I'm not going to bore you unduly. My name is Monsignor Hugh Connolly, and I'm the former president of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth. I'm not going to tell you about the college, because that's the duty of the new president, Professor Mullaney. But I do want to simply say that it's great that you've come here to be with us in these days. I've had very positive experiences of this gathering, and I know that what we discuss will be important, but also who we discover and with whom we discuss these matters, even in the margins, over coffee, while we're having a bite to eat, while we're enjoying the entertainment. These are also terribly important moments for all of us. So I hope you enjoy these days here, and I hope you make many new friends and establish many new links between our respective universities. We are, of course, delighted also to have some distinguished people here. I am going to allow the President to do the formal welcomes as protocol dictates. 2 little things I'd like to say. One is that IFCU is a family. It may not always be apparent to outsiders looking on that it is so. There are many universities, for instance, throughout the world who are part of networks because of their founding charism. Perhaps they belong to a particular religious congregation. They belong to a large family that has an extensive network across the world. But there are many smaller and more individual universities that don't have that network. And my experience of IFCU over the last decade has been that it provides that context for us to see that we are truly part of a great global family, and to see that we can do things together that we couldn't possibly hope to do as individual institutions. IFCU is at an important time in its life and in its mission. And I certainly hope that these days for us would be an opportunity for us to reinvigorate, to rehone, to refocus that mission for all of us and for our institutions. The second thing I simply want to say is in respect of the first speaker, who is the President of St. Patrick's College, Father Michael Mullaney, who is also a Professor of Canon Law here and has, well, he has quite a CV which I have in front of me, but I'm not going to embarrass him by reading it all, Michael, so because I know him too well as a former deputy, and I know he wouldn't want me to do that. But I do want to say something very positive, and that's that, look, I had the pleasure of going and assisting at meetings of the General Assembly, as I've said, and this would be my fourth occasion. When I went to Melbourne, I was conscious that by the time you would come here, I would be finished my mandate as president. I have to say that Michael, and indeed all the team here at St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, embraced the challenge of having inherited this event with tremendous enthusiasm and with tremendous generosity and with tremendous goodwill. So I'm indebted to him for his willingness to run with this project and to make it happen. I think that's quite enough from me this evening. You will hear more of me because I'll be doing the Master of Ceremonies, but it's quite enough of me just now. I want to introduce the President of St. Patrick's College, who will welcome you here, Father Michael Mullaney, Professor Michael Mullaney of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth.
So friends, on behalf of the Chair of the Trustees of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, Archbishop Eamon Martin, I invite you, Archbishop, maybe you might salute our friends. The members of the faculty of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, and all the administration, the administrative staff, the students, and I'm delighted also to have been introduced by my predecessor, Monsignor Hugh Connolly, who deserves all the credit for inviting the International Federation of Catholic Universities to hold their 26th General Assembly here in Maynooth. And it is also, having received the baton from him, my own personal delight and honour as President of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, to extend the same Céad Míle Fáilte, 100,000 welcomes to all of you who have gathered here for the Assembly. So, bienvenue à tous, bienvenido a todos, benvenuti a tutti. It's a great privilege for us that you've elected this college at the last General Assembly in Melbourne to come to Ireland and to grace this college with your presence for the next few days. A very special word of welcome to our distinguished visitors and His Excellency, Cardinal Giuseppe Versaldi, Prefect for the Congregation for Catholic Education. We're delighted you're here with us. And the President of IFCU, over here, Father Dr. Pedro Rubens Ferreira Oliveira. And Dr. Francois Mebou, sorry, I knew I'd get this wrong. Dr. Francois Mabie, the IFCU General Secretary, excuse me, Francois, pardon. A special word of thanks just from the outset to all those who have made the preparations for the General Assembly, Loic Roche and Nicolas Vergier, and all the IFCU team in Paris, and also in particular Caroline Tennyson over here from my own office. And James Murphy and all the team here at St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, who have worked meticulously to ensure this will be a successful and engaging conference. This is a very historical college and a great location to discuss and debate the theme that you have chosen for the General Assembly, Catholic Universities working in solidarity as responsible actors from the local to the global. For this college has had a long tradition of Catholic university education and formation that has shaped not only the local church and society, but also has had a great global outreach. And maybe just before we look at the theme, maybe to give you a little bit of the sense of that local and global outreach of this college. Any of you who came in through the main gate will have noticed on the right, before you come into the gate, the ruins of a fine castle. And that castle in the early 16th century was perhaps the seat of one of the most powerful families in Ireland, the Fitzgerald family, who actually in due course gave the land for this campus. And it was on this site that the 9th Earl of Kildare, a man called Garrett Og Fitzgerald, Garrett Og meaning the younger, founded Ireland's first university on this site in 1518. Now, it only lasted about 20 years. It flourished until it was suppressed in 1538 because his son, Silken Thomas, he was known, rebelled against Henry VIII, and that was the end of both the Fitzgeralds and the university. And with the arrival of the Reformation and the penal period, which forbade the education of Catholics and seminaries in Ireland, a great network of Irish colleges sprung up all over Europe, which served Ireland for almost 3 centuries. But in the age of revolutions, and particularly the French Revolution, fearing that priests were bringing back dangerous revolutionary ideas to Ireland, the British government founded this college so that it would be, believing it would be a safer place to educate Irish priests at home. Indeed, King George III is reputed to have said that it pained him more to found a popish college than it did to lose the American colonies. The first professors were mainly French, themselves refugees of the Ancien Régime, and the language in the staff dining room in the first years of this college was French. And so I'm delighted, Monsignor Hugh Connolly, to continue that tradition today. And when you're at the reception this evening in Pugin Hall, when you look at the walls, you will see the portraits of the first professors of the college who came from their Sorbonne in Paris. The college campus, which many of you have admired since you have arrived, was built over a century. It's a mixture of, between the 18th and 19th century, a mixture of Georgian and Neo-Gothic design, with the most recognizable building being that which St. Patrick's College, which was designed by the renowned English, you see how ecumenical we are, the English architect Augustus Pugin, who also designed many cathedrals in Ireland and in England during the time of Catholic emancipation in the 1830s and 1840s. Perhaps his most notable building, though, is Big Ben in London, and he was one of the 2 architects who designed the palaces of Westminster in London. Since the foundation of our college, 12,000 priests have been ordained here and have served the church across not only Ireland, but also the English-speaking world and beyond. Its alumni founded 3 great missionary orders, one to India in 1838, and the Maynooth mission to China, the Columban Fathers, just over 100 years ago in 1916. And later, St. Patrick's African Missionary Society in 1932. Maynooth also produced the first group of Irish Vincentian priests who were to found the world-renowned missionary college in Dublin called All Hallows. And as you walk the cloisters of the college this afternoon or in the next few days, you will see many of the college's alumni and staff who became bishops throughout the world. In India, Patrick Carew, who became the Bishop of West Bengal in 1838, John Fennelly, who became the Bishop of Madras in 1841, and his brother Stephen, who followed in his footsteps to the same place in 1868. And there is also in the United States, Peter Kendrick, who went to St. Louis in 1841, Patrick Feehan, Chicago in 1865, among others. And of course to Australia. We sent Daniel Murphy to Hobartown in 1846, Joseph Higgins to Sydney, and more famously of all, Daniel Mannix to Melbourne. Not to mention also South Africa and to Canada. All highlight the global outreach of this college. And our college campus uniquely hosts 3 institutions: the National Seminary, which we expect next year to have about 30 seminarians resident and 20 who will commute in each day; the Pontifical University, which was founded here in 1896 and has over 860 students, part-time and full-time; and thirdly, in 1910, this college also became a recognised college of the National University of Ireland, with faculties in arts, philosophy and Celtic studies. And that was to be a part of this institution until 1997, when, due to an act of Parliament, it became an independent secular college. And today it has over 12,000 students. And in addition to the traditional faculties of arts, philosophy and Celtic studies and science, it includes courses in finance, computer science, software engineering, electronic engineering, and so on. And both institutions, even though they are separate, share this wonderful heritage campus and enjoy a wonderful relationship together. As for that brief historical overview demonstrates why this college, this location, is a fitting place to address the theme of this year's General Assembly: Catholic universities working in solidarity as responsible actors from the local to the global. Ex corde ecclesia lists ethical concern as among the criteria of research for a Catholic university, because knowledge is meant to serve the human person. Research in a Catholic university is always carried out with concern for the ethical and moral implications both of its methods and of its discoveries, especially in the areas of science and technology. For the cause of the human person will only be served if knowledge is joined to conscience. And this unity of knowledge and conscience is what drives Catholic universities to be responsible and ethical agents or actors in addressing the contemporary challenges to human dignity, justice, the environment, climate change, migration, economy, and politics, to create a more humane world and protecting our shared planet. The former Superior General of the Society of Jesus, Father Peter Hans Hollenbach, coined the phrase well-educated solidarity as the standard for Jesuit education in the 21st century. And because of the rapid pace of change, the complexities of globalization, and the global problems of poverty, the ecological crisis, the climate change, which require sophisticated analysis for ethical solutions, Catholic universities must play an increasingly important role in the formation of reflective graduates with a well-educated solidarity in fidelity to the convictions, its convictions about human dignity of every person and the common good of all. A key element of every Catholic university's pedagogy and programs is to unite knowledge and conscience so as to equip its graduates not only for employment but for life, to equip its graduates to be morally responsible actors who will be leaven and enrich their communities not only with knowledge but also wisdom and virtue that can heal a world wounded by the widespread individualism which divides human beings, setting them against one another as they pursue their own selfish interests. Addressing the complex global issues that touch on so many different dimensions of human life and of society and of the environment also calls for greater cooperation between Catholic and ecclesiastical faculties and universities, as stated by Pope Francis in his address to the members of the Gravissimum Educationis Foundation last June. He said, only by changing education can we change the world. In other words, our Catholic and ecclesiastical universities must cooperate and support each other more than ever before. He underlined the urgent need for networking and alliances, concrete interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary approaches, which he outlined in his recent constitution, Veritatis Gaudium. Pope Francis called on ecclesiastical faculties, and we can presume he would likewise propose for faculties of Catholic universities to work more together in establishing outstanding interdisciplinary centres, to develop specialised centres capable of deeper dialogue with the different scientific fields that can propose solutions that correspond to a more authentic understanding of human dignity and the common good. Catholic universities working in solidarity is an imperative. It's not an aspiration, requiring a firm commitment and concrete initiatives, not vague or obscure intentions. All of us, especially leaders in universities, have drawerfuls of interinstitutional agreements which are look well on paper, but yet have really to be materialized. Internationalization in the third level sector has never been so necessary. Therefore, this solidarity between Catholic and ecclesiastical universities working closer together, and which is the theme of this assembly, is an imperative not only for all our sustainability, but also in the third level sector for all our credibility. The innate tension exists between acting from local to global. As Pope Francis wrote in Evangelii Gaudium, we need to pay attention to the global so as to avoid narrowness and banality, and yet we also need to look to the local, which keeps our feet on the ground. Together, the two prevent us from falling into one of two extremes. In the first, living in the abstract, and in the other extreme, doomed to doing the same things over and over again, and incapable of changing or being challenged by new ideas. Catholic universities working in solidarity as responsible actors from the local to the global can also work on the small scale or stage, but motivated or inspired by a larger perspective. And one example of this need for Catholic and ecclesiastical universities to act in a new and intergenerational solidarity, both locally and globally, or what some have said is glocally, is in responding to the challenge of environmental degradation and climate change, the consequence of unbridled greed, consumerism, and the erosion of the sense of the common good. Indeed, Catholic and ecclesiastical universities should be at the vanguard of environmental education and developing an ethics of ecology, helping people through effective pedagogy to grow in solidarity, responsibility, and compassionate care for the environment, to shape new convictions according to Laudato Si, attitudes and models of living in our homes, workplaces, communities, and above all our universities, inspired by this new global or glocal solidarity to save our common home and pass it on to future generations. During one of the roundtable sessions tomorrow, on Tuesday afternoon, I'll be pleased to share with you how St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, in partnership with Maynooth University and TROCRA, which is the Irish equivalent to Caritas, or the development agency, the Catholic Development Agency, which provides relief in the developing world and located here also on our campus, worked in partnership together to respond to this environmental challenge. The shared campus of St. Patrick's College and Maynooth University, as a result, has been awarded the Green Flag in recognition of the greening of the campus for a sustainable world. The body awarding this prestigious Green Flag noted that the collaboration between St. Patrick's College and Maynooth University has significantly raised the bar for these activities for all universities across Ireland. Finally, friends, may I repeat how proud we are to be hosting this 26th General Assembly with the engaging team of Catholic universities working in solidarity as responsible actors from the local to the global. I wish this assembly a fruitful engagement with the team, whether in plenary or group sessions, and that this will result in a wider and deeper support and solidarity between Catholic universities for the common good of all and for the environment. And I hope you have time also to enjoy yourself while you're here among us, make new friends, and to return to your respective countries and institutions with fond memories of this wonderful occasion. So, my friends, I welcome you once again, and I thank you for being with us.
So thank you, Professor Michael Mullaney, President. I have to say that over the course of the last year as a member of the Conseil d'Administration of the FIUC, I've had the pleasure of working with not just one president, but two presidents. And now we're going to turn our attention to the president of FIUC. Just a little bit of biographical detail, which I have before me here en français. Pedro Rubens est prêtre jésuite. Il est docteur en théologie du Centre Sèvres de Paris. Il a été professeur de théologie fondamentale à la faculté jésuite de philosophie et théologie de Belo Horizonte, en Brésil. Et depuis 2006, il est recteur de l'Université catholique de Pernambuco, aussi en Brésil. Il a été élu président de la fédération, c'est-à-dire le FIUC, en 2012 et réélu en 2015. Il a présidé de 2013 jusqu'à 2017 l'Association brésilienne des universités communautaires, ABRUC, c'est l'acronyme. Il enseigne la théologie à l'UNICAP dans le Master de théologie. Il a une formation en théologie fondamentale, travaillant principalement sur les sujets suivants: discernement théologique, foi chrétien et religiosité populaire, théologie contextuelle latino-américaine, méthode théologique et herméneutique philosophique et théologique. C'est beaucoup ça. But I have to say, as a footnote, that somehow doesn't quite capture Pedro in the contribution that he has made, because Pedro has an extraordinary range of talents, not least his own humble, gentle, and open approach. It is never an easy thing to chair a board which comes from 5 continents and multiple cultures, as well as 3 working languages, but many others underneath that. Pedro does that with extraordinary grace and also with extraordinary efficiency, and of course with great humor and friendship. These are not things that you can learn. They are things which spring from the human spirit. It's been a pleasure to have served on a board of which Pedro has been chair, or président, as we say in French and Spanish. He has done a wonderful job. It's my honor and pleasure to simply invite him now to the dais to address a few words as president of FIUC to us today. Bem-vindo, Pedro.
Merci, Hugues. Il est connu par sa générosité et aussi son sens d'humour. Donc, merci en tout cas. Éminence, Révérendissime Cardinal Joseph Versalde, préfet de la Congrégation pour l'éducation catholique, votre présence ici souligne bien notre appartenance à l'Église universelle basée à Rome, ainsi que les liens étroits qui unissent notre fédération et la Congrégation pour l'éducation catholique, dans une mission commune au service de l'Église, au sein des cultures et des sociétés du monde. À votre retour à Rome, j'ose vous demander, ou je vous prie de saluer de notre part Monseigneur Guy Réal-Tivierge, il qui a beaucoup travaillé à l'association pendant une trentaine d'années. Nous devons beaucoup à lui et aujourd'hui, il est avec vous dans la Fondation Gravismus Education. Donc, merci de le saluer à notre nom. Excellence, Monseigneur Eman Martin, archevêque d'Armagh. Je ne sais pas si c'est comme ça qu'on prononce, mais peu de temps en Irlande, donc je vais apprendre d'ici à la fin de la semaine. Merci de votre présence et de l'accueil dans cette église en Irlande et sa vocation ouverte à l'évangélisation du monde. Mais une église toujours confrontée à de nouveaux défis. et nous sommes ici aussi dans un geste de solidarité et soutenance. Père professeur Michael Mulaney, président de St. Patrick's College, grand merci à vous pour nous ouvrir les portes et les cœurs de toute la communauté universitaire. Nous sommes très heureux depuis que nous sommes là. On profite bien des Maynooth, mais aussi de cet accueil. Durant ce jour d'assemblée, le siège de la fédération est ici, avec la bénédiction de Saint Patrick, bien sûr. Monseigneur Hugues Colonel, ex-président de St. Patrick's College et aumônier des Irlandais, Collège des Irlandais à Paris, je crois qu'il est content. Grâce à vous, l'invitation a été faite et approuvée dans la dernière Assemblée générale à Melbourne. C'était la deuxième fois, si je ne me trompe pas, la présentation. Évidemment que Hugues nous a promis des choses qu'il ne fallait absolument pas refuser. Donc, nous sommes là pour rejoindre cette histoire de St. Patrick's College. Mais aussi, je tiens à vous remercier pour votre participation au conseil d'administration, conseil que je salue et remercie également dès maintenant. Cher professeur François Mabille, nouveau secrétaire général de la FIUC, c'est sa deuxième année et sa première assemblée générale, et chers membres de l'équipe du secrétariat qui sont là, un grand merci et toute ma reconnaissance pour le travail mené depuis Paris et qui nous aide à construire ce réseau. En particulier, mon grand merci pour toute l'organisation de cette Assemblée générale. Enfin, je vous remercie, vous tous, recteurs, rectrices et représentants de nos universités. La vie de la Fédération ainsi que son renouvellement dépendent de votre participation. Pas seulement au moment de dire qu'on va continuer à payer la cotisation, mais aussi l'effective participation. La FIUC a été créée à l'initiative des universités. Il n'existerait pas sans un vrai sentiment de corps, aujourd'hui sous la forme des réseaux. L'Assemblée générale est l'autorité suprême de la Fédération et nous voici réunis afin de donner corps et visibilité à la vie de la FIUC et aussi de faire une expérience de fédération. Je tiens à vous remercier de tout cœur d'avoir pris le temps et mis en œuvre des moyens pour y arriver, alors que nous traversons une époque marquée par l'incertitude d'un côté et d'autre par la multiplicité des réunions et des réseaux dans nos pays, dans nos régions, congrégations religieuses et d'autres organismes ad intra et ad est ecclesia. Cependant, aucun réseau ne pourra répondre à l'universalité et rassembler la diversité de notre fédération. Composée aujourd'hui de 238 institutions, et ce matin même on a ajouté 2, donc 238 avec le 2, de toutes les parties du monde et surtout riche d'une diversité de cultures universitaires, patrimoine pluriel de notre catholicité en dialogue avec le monde. Mais ce réseau de 94 ans est sans cesse appelé au renouvellement à cause du changement du monde à très grande vitesse et de la bonne nouvelle de notre foi chrétienne. Réunie tous les 3 ans, l'Assemblée générale constitue avant tout un espace de rencontre des recteurs et des représentants de nos universités. Nous sommes solidaires aussi bien des grands défis de notre mission que de l'espérance commune de la foi chrétienne au cœur d'une humanité si diversifiée. Ce rassemblement est aussi un moment unique de revisiter la belle tradition de la FIUC et de l'Église en vue d'évaluer les 3 dernières années de travail réalisé, les difficultés rencontrées et les nouvelles perspectives d'avenir. Ces activités sont détaillées dans les rapports administratifs qui vous a été remis à votre arrivée et nous y reviendrons ultérieurement. Cette rencontre majeure est également une occasion privilégiée de réfléchir ensemble et à nouveau frais sur l'identité et la mission de nos universités comme un service à l'Église et à la société, en dialogue avec les sciences et les cultures, dans une attitude pastorale et dans la perspective de l'évangélisation, selon les orientations de notre Carte Magna, la Constitution apostolique Ex Corde Ecclesiae de Saint Jean-Paul II. Son successeur, le pape Benoît, de diverses manières, nous a interpellés et approfondi le dialogue avec la pensée contemporaine, foi, raison, sans rien renoncer à notre spécificité chrétienne. Et de nos jours, le pape François ne cesse de nous inciter à quitter nos zones de confort pour aller vers les périphéries du monde, pour rejoindre les personnes écartées par un système d'exclusion qui finira par mettre en risque l'humanité et l'avenir de la planète. L'appel du pape François vers une église en mouvement de sortie correspond à une université en sortie, ce qu'il y a déjà dit plusieurs fois. Il nous faudra faire plusieurs déplacements pour rejoindre les nouvelles technologies, mais sans relâcher la responsabilité à l'égard de notre maison commune, tout en étant témoin de la joie de l'Évangile et appelé à la sainteté au cœur d'un monde déchiré par la souffrance et de nombreuses formes de violence. Nos universités sont invitées au renouvellement continuel, non seulement à cause d'un monde qui change à grande vitesse, mais surtout pour accompagner les processus d'apprentissage des nouvelles générations. Écoutant leurs questions et questionnements dans le but d'apprendre avec eux, non sans les aider à réélaborer les valeurs à partir d'une formation intégrale capable de prendre en charge un nouveau style de vie et une nouvelle humanité. Voilà, nous avons beaucoup de données, des échos des voix de jeunes. 16 500 jeunes ont été interviewés. L'enquête a été traduite dans 3 langues. Qu'est-ce que pensent les jeunes de nos universités? 16 500 jeunes ont pris la parole, et c'est à nous d'écouter et travailler. Depuis la création de la Fédération internationale des universités catholiques en 1924, le monde a beaucoup changé. Nos universités aussi ont changé. En plus, de nouvelles institutions ont été créées. Si la FIUC ne saisit pas les grands enjeux de ces transformations historiques, alors elle ne sera pas capable de célébrer son premier centenaire avec le dynamisme d'un vrai réseau, selon les nouveaux défis et les opportunités du XXIe siècle, tout en confirmant sa vocation première, fiat ut serviat, savoir pour servir. Je me réjouis d'être parmi vous et d'achever ces 2 mandats en tant que président de la FIUC. Merci de votre confiance. Pardonnez-moi pour quelques choses ça nous arrive, et je garde toujours l'amitié fraternelle. J'ai appris avec vous à valoriser davantage l'histoire et la belle tradition de notre fédération et celle de l'Église, non sans essayer de renouveler l'institution selon les nouveaux signes de temps et les nouveaux besoins de nos universités. Avec le sentiment de gratitude et d'espoir dans l'avenir, je déclare ouverte la 26e Assemblée générale de la Fédération internationale des universités catholiques. Muito obrigado, gracias, merci, thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Pedro, for that intervention and for declaring this conference open. If I may, you know that you're in Ireland, and Ireland we like a little story and a little anecdote sometimes. So just before introducing our next very eminent guest, I recall, because we're still in the spirit of the World Cup football and so forth the last few weeks, but I recall many years ago, way back, I think in the 1960s, there was a celebrated match between Ireland and Italy. But in fact, it didn't turn out to be very good. And to be honest, the reason it didn't turn out to be very good was because the Irish played a very, very, very defensive style of football, so that really you couldn't play very much football. Needless to say, the very developed Italian sporting press next day were not impressed. And what they simply did was they went to the Colosseum in Rome, and they took the pictures of the 3 panels which depict the spread, the gradual spread of the Roman Empire, the white paint showing how it grew. And in all 3 panels, Ireland remains black. And instead of pictures of the match, they just showed these 3 panels, and they said, "Dear reader, these panels and last night's match clearly demonstrate that Roman civilization never arrived in Ireland." So, I suppose it is true that when St. Columbanus and some of the great Irish monks wrote to the Holy Father, they wrote saying, "Dear Holy Father, we write from the end of the world." And there was that feeling that somehow Hibernia was the end of the world, at least at one time. But things have happily changed, both on the football front and I suppose on the sheer connectedness of the world in which we live. And I suppose in terms of our faith family and our life as church, we've been delighted in comparatively recent years to welcome here the Eucharistic Congress. And of course, we had a wonderful Eucharistic Congress symposium here in conjunction with that event. And next month, we're going to be delighted to welcome our Holy Father here for the World Meeting of Families. All of that is simply a prelude to saying that it's still not an everyday occurrence to have someone of high office from Rome visit us. And for that reason, we are especially delighted to have Cardinal Giuseppe Versaldi to bring his message to this body and to share some of that wisdom of the universal church with our gathering. So you're most welcome. Thank you.
Most Excellence Archbishop Martin, former and present President of this St. Patrick's College, President and Secretary of this International Federation of Catholic Universities, distinguished academic authorities and professors, dear friends. It gives me a great pleasure to be in Maynooth here today to open this 26th General Assembly of the International Federation of Catholic Universities. The theme of this conference, Catholic Universities Working in Solidarity as Responsible Agents from the Local to the Global, could not be more relevant. As you know, Pope Francis recently published an apostolic constitution, Veritatis Gaudium, formally addressed to the faculties and ecclesiastical faculties and universities, but also important for the Catholic universities, because In introducing chapter, the Pope talks about the general criteria which may guide the Catholic educational institutions. In recent times, this federation has launched two projects of great actuality: university social responsibility and migrants. Let me speak on both of these themes. First of all, the social responsibility. I should like to begin with a quote from St. John Paul II in his speech in Zagreb in 1998. He said, "It is also clear that the good of the person, which is the ultimate goal of every cultural and scholarly enterprise, can never be sundered from consideration of the common good. In this regard, I recall," continued the Pope, "the inscription found in the great council hall in Dubrovnik, obliti privatorum publica curate. It is my hope that all the commitment of the thinkers and scholars inspired by true values will always be seen as a generous and disinterested service of the human person and of society. It must never be bent to serve ends contrary to this supreme goal. Today, for many people, is no longer a given that university serves the common good. This federation itself, through its higher educational foresight unit, has noted that the academic environment is becoming increasingly commoditized and now privileged STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, at the expense of the humanities, and that this evolving trend poses questions that are unique to Catholic higher education, in particular with respect to the place that spiritual guidance and humane values should occupy in such a context. We who hold that the university must serve a common good and that it's not only for the benefit of the students' future careers, must measure what we do with the challenges of the present, the challenges of all humanity, including future generations. In fact, this is a meeting not just of universities, but of Catholic universities. This is not insignificant difference. As Pope Francis said in his address to the Catholic University of Portugal in the last year, I quote, "By the design of the grace of God, you are a Catholic university, a characteristic that is no way damages the university, but on the contrary increases its value to the maximum. Because if the basic mission of every university is a continuous quest for truth through its research and the preservation and communication of knowledge and for the good of society, a Catholic academic institution is distinguished by the Christian inspiration of its members and its communities, helping them to include the moral, spiritual, and religious dimension in their research and to enhance the conquest of science and technology by viewing them from the perspective of the whole human person." And the Constitution Veritatis Gaudium puts it in this way, I quote, "Today it is becoming increasingly evident that there is a need for a true evangelical hermeneutic for better understanding life, the world and humanity, not of a synthesis, but of a spiritual atmosphere of research and certainty based on the truth of reason and faith. It is the gospel, that the true evangelical hermeneutic, that allows you to see this federation project as not something added, to the work of our Catholic universities, but the essence of their work. It allows the students and teachers to open up to the world around them, broadening their own horizons and thus making them better scholars and touching the lives of those around them, thus making them better Christians. At the very beginning of Veritatis Gaudium, the Pope showed us how our Catholic universities must remain up to date, which means remaining up to date with what is happening around them and interfacing with that new reality. The Apostolic Constitution ought to take into account development of the area of academic studies in these past decades. There is also a need to acknowledge the changed social cultural context worldwide and to implement initiatives on the international level to which the Holy See have adhered. These international agreements include not just matters of strictly academic concern, such as the Lisbon Convention here in Europe, but also initiatives of the United Nations through UNESCO, which deal with the facilitating education and higher education for sometimes disadvantaged groups, such as girls, students in developing countries, refugees, and forcibly displaced persons. The Church is concerned that education be imbued with solidarity, and that solidarity not simply being add-on to what we do otherwise in our universities. This is no imposition on our universities, asking them to respond to the Christian imperative of love thy neighbor, and thus expending precious time and resources that could be focused instead on pure academics. On the contrary, where there is solidarity, academic thoughts being centered on the unique human person itself becomes more united, less fragmented, and thus fulfills the requirements of Veritatis Gaudium, which calls for interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary approaches carried out with wisdom and creative in the light of revelation. As Pope Francis also puts it, I quote, "Knowledge must always sense that it is at the service of life and must confront it directly in order to keep progressing. Hence, the educational community cannot be reduced to classrooms and libraries, but must progress continually towards participation. This dialogue can only take place on the basis of the episteme, capable of thinking in the plural, that is, conscious of the interdisciplinary and interdependent nature of learning." Solidarity, therefore, lies at the heart of the universities qua Catholic, but also at the heart of our Catholic institutions qua universities. How can this solidarity be manifest? I leave to this International Federation of Catholic Universities through its projects and discussion in these days to work that out to the full. Let me just suggest few. Providing education to areas where this is lacking. I mean here that the Catholic universities is in richer countries, partnering institutions in developing countries, sharing resources, both human and material. As Pope Benedict said, greater solidarity at the international level is seen especially in the ongoing promotion, even in the midst of economic crisis, of greater access to education. I know our Catholic universities already engage in this work, but from my many meetings with the bishop of their ad limina visit in Rome, I can tell you that many bishops, especially from Africa, especially always ask for resources to help them in their work of education. The congregation in Rome cannot help, but you can. Please, all Catholic universities in richer countries might see it as a part of their mission to help Catholic universities in developing countries. Through education, you provide for others a resource that is not only for the bene esse, it is true for they esse. Never forget the words of Pope Paul VI. Lack of education is as serious as lack of food. The illiterate is starved spirit. Thus we see that the providing education or providing others with the means to educate is a work of true solidarity, but also of justice. Let me tell you that the Pope Francis is very concerned with the ideological colonization where aid is given to the poorer nations on condition that they teach non-Christian theories deriving from the developed world. So when our richer Catholic universities help our poorer ones, they must also bear this problem in mind. As Pope Benedict said, in order to educate, it is necessary to know the nature of human person, to know who he or she is. The increasing prominence of a relativistic understanding of that nature presents serious problems for education, especially moral education. Yielding to this kind of relativism makes everyone poorer and has a negative impact on the effectiveness of aid to the most needy populations who lack not only economic and technical means, but also educational methods and resources to assist people in realizing their full human potential. Finally, I should like to speak a little about a theme of great actuality that is close to the Holy Father's heart: solidarity in saving our common home, the planet. This is not another theme, distinct from solidarity. It is a part and parcel of the solidarity. As Pope Francis explains, I quote, "When we speak of the environment, what we really mean is a relationship existing between nature and the society which lives in it. Nature cannot be regarded as something separate from ourselves or as a mere setting in which we live. We are part of nature, included in it, and thus in constant interaction with it. We are faced not only with two separate crises, one environmental and the other social, but rather with one complex crisis, which is both social and environmental. Strategies for a solution demand an integrated approach to combating poverty, restoring dignity to the excluded, and at the same time protecting nature. Therefore, when our Catholic universities set up to examine and to deal with the ecological crisis, they must regard within the larger framework of solidarity. When studying the problem of the ecosystem, one cannot exclude the problem of humankind. Certainly, it is not a solution to view humanity as the problem from which nature must be liberated. Catholic universities must see the problems of the ecosystem and the problems of our fellow men and women as being part of one problem. This is the good example of the interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary approach of which Veritatis Gaudium speaks. In November of last year, members of this International Federation of Catholic Universities were privileged to have an audience with Pope Francis, as you know, at the conclusion of the international conference, Migrants and Refugees in a Globalized World. The Holy Father thanked you for your contribution in 3 areas that are within our competence, those of research, teaching, and social problem. As regards research, Pope Francis asked you to begin further, even long-term studies into the remote causes of a forced migration, with the aim of identifying practical solutions, to examine the negative reaction that the arrival of migrants is generating in countries of ancient Christian tradition, to examine migrants and refugees' many contributions to the host society, and to deepen theological reflection on migration as a sign of times. As regard of teaching, the Pope asks you to set up programs aimed at fostering the education of refugees, both by offering correspondence courses for those living in reception camps and centers, and by allocating study grants that allow for their relocation. To take advantage of the extensive international academic network so that universities can also facilitate the recognition of the qualifications and professional status of migrants and refugees. For Catholic University to train in a specific and professional way the pastoral workers who strive to assist migrants and refugees. Finally, as regard to the social promotion, the Pope reminded you that universities can carry out their role as privileged actors, such as, for example, by encouraging students to engage in volunteer assistance programs for refugees, asylum seekers, and newly arrived migrants. Sad to say, but negative attitude towards refugees and forcibly displaced persons are to be found even within our Catholic universities, because those who teach and study within all our walls also live in the culture that has become hostile for the other. Even 16 years ago, St. John Paul II was warning us, saying, I quote, "Often solidarity does not come easily. It requires training and the turning away from attitude of closure, which in many societies today have become more subtle and penetrating." And yet, he also noted that to deal with this phenomenon, the Church possesses vast educational and formative resources at all levels. So we are to use these vast educational and formative resources to do good in this area, good for others, but is also good for ourselves and for our own culture. As Pope Francis said last year, withdrawing into oneself or into one's culture is never the right way to give new hope or carry out social and cultural renewal. A culture of strengthening by its openness and its exchange of views with others' culture, as long as it has clear and mature awareness of its own principles and values. We are called to understand and appreciate the values of others, overcoming the temptation of indifference and fear. Never be afraid of encounter, of dialogue, of debate. In conclusion, Catholic universities, member of this International Federation of Catholic Universities, you are fully aware of these challenges, and the Congregation for Catholic Education congratulates you on what you are already doing to address the great needs of our time. It is true that what is taking shape before us today is a great cultural and spiritual and educational challenge, and it will demand that we set out on the long path of renewal. So I say to you, work together, network, for the sake of all humanity. Take the art of the words of the Veritatis Gaudium, which calls indispensable the establishment of a new and qualified centers of research, where scholars from different scientific fields can interact with responsible freedom and mutual transparency, thus entering into the dialogue among themselves for the sake of protecting nature, defending the poor, and building networks of respect and fraternity. Let me finish with the words of Pope Francis. The discernment of reality and the promotion of a culture of encounter and dialogue orientate us to solidarity as a fundamental element for a renewal of our societies. The encounter, the dialogue between Jesus and the two disciples of Emmaus, which rekindles their hope and renews their life's journey, leads to sharing. They recognize him in a breaking of the bread. It is the sign of the Eucharistic, of God who makes himself so close in Christ that he becomes a constant presence, that he shares his very life. And he says this to everyone, even to non-believers. It is precisely in solidarity, unspoken yet practiced, that relationship change from considering someone as a human material or as a number to see him as a person. There is no future for any country, for any society, for our world, unless we are able to show greater solidarities. And as a sign of my gratitude, I am pleased to leave to the president of this International Federation of Catholic Universities some documents, beginning from the Apostolic Constitution, Veritatis Gaudium, then also a book, New Educational Horizons, which contains the main contribution coming from the World Congress taken in Rome in 2015, and also a short document, Educating to Fraternal Humanism, in correspondence with the 50th anniversary of Populorum Progressio. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Your Eminence. Thank you for that message and the encouragement and also the challenge of our gathering in these days. We thank you for the greeting from the Holy Father, and we hope that you will also greet him from us and acknowledge first of all his greeting, but also perhaps show our appreciation for the courageous witness that he shows in championing those who are the poorest of the poor, not least the migrants and refugees whom you referenced. Now, we're delighted to have His Eminence and His Grace with us later for the Eucharistic celebration. So just when we're on that point, could I point out that we will gather for Mass, for our Eucharistic celebration, in the main square, unless the weather changes very badly. We will all gather in the main square and we will process to the college chapel. There will be the sacristy and other room available for priests who wish to concelebrate and to vest before Mass. In terms of practical points, I know it can be difficult in those first hours, especially when you arrive, to get oriented in a strange place and perhaps different language. There are helpers around who are some of our students and staff who are wearing T-shirts or other uniforms to depict that they're there to help. So please do feel free to use their services to find out where things are, or if you have any difficulties. Ireland prides itself on being a country of welcome. We mean that, and therefore we mean you to use our services to make your stay here a little bit more pleasant, enjoyable. There's no question too silly, no question too small to ask. Please do, if you have any difficulties, let us know, and we will try to address them for you as quickly as possible. You know, all of these General Assemblies have points of continuity and discontinuity because we are a body that changes. We fulfill our mandate as presidents or rectors, and we move on. And therefore there are new faces, but there are also old faces. There are points of linkage, and there are things which are new. I have to say that thought there a little bit as President Michael was referencing our history as a college, that it's wonderful to have that linkage with Melbourne, because I'm delighted to see Vice-Chancellor Craven with us and his team from Australia. Because 3 years ago we had the privilege of being there for the General Assembly, and just in that very city, a previous president of this institution became Archbishop, so Archbishop Manock. So there's a lovely point of continuity between two General Assemblies, and it's wonderful to be able to pick up the baton from that wonderful experience in Melbourne. And of course, when we were there, one of the great faces of IFCU for many, many presidents and rectors over many, many assemblies was, of course, Monsignor Guy Réal-Tivierge, who was the General Secretary for quite some time and was more or less the face of IFCU Fiúc, and quite a difficult role to replace easily because of his extraordinary presence and his extraordinary experience in that role. So it's my pleasant duty now simply to introduce the man who did have the courage to step up and to become the Secretary General of IFCU, and that is my colleague François Mabille. And François is Director of the International Research and Decision-Making Centre, a former Professor of Political Science at the Université Catholique de Lille, and statutory researcher on Societies, Religion and Secularism Group of that National Centre for Scientific Research, CNRS. And he started his career back at the Institut Catholique in Paris in 1998, where he actually founded a research centre rather on peace with Joseph Maïla, and thus contributing to the introduction in France of the peace research movement. And again, in his perspective, in 2000, he founded the Faculty of Social Sciences and Economics, or rather at that faculty, he founded a master's degree in international solidarity and action, of which he was in fact director until 2005. François was Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences and Economics for 5 years, during which were created, among other things, the Masters in Economic Intelligence, Masters in Political Science, Masters in Social Economics, and Masters in Environmental Sciences, and also the first ever university diploma for the training of religious dignitaries, indeed imams and future imams. So that we've got a man here who has an extraordinary experience of working not only from within our own faith tradition, but indeed with people from other faith traditions. In 2010, François Mabille joined the Université Catholique de Lille, where he now teaches international relations at the Faculty of Law. He created the chair in 2011 on social stakes and prospective, of which he is the holder, and he took part in various activities of the International Institute of Prospective Innovative Ecosystems, created in 2014. And he's also provided various expertise and documents for the International Organization of La Francophonie and the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He also collaborated for many years with Charles Leopold Mayer Foundation. Now, that's his background, but as I said, it's never an easy task to fill the shoes of someone who has been part of the institution of Fiúc and IFCU for so many years. François took up that role with a 3-year mandate from September 2016. I have to say that as his colleague, working with him on the Administrative Council, the Conseil d'Administration, he has responded with great energy, but also great creativity and great openness. He has come to his role with a sense of what can we do, how can we serve, how can we make IFCO, FIUC, something which responds to the needs and to the wishes of our global membership. How can we revitalize the mission of FIUC and IFCO? Well, to perhaps share a few of those thoughts with you, and also what we will be doing in these days, let me cease and let me invite Francois himself to come here to the dais and to address us. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Hugues. Monsieur le Cardinal, Excellence, dear President Mulani, dear Connelly, dear rectors, dear colleagues, I'm happy to welcome you on behalf of IFCO office. I would like to tell you a few words about the main topics of this General Assembly before introducing the inaugural conference. As you know, our General Assemblies are divided in two parts. One part is more academic. You usually work on a specific topic that seems interesting for your universities and for Catholic higher education. The second part is more administrative. Altogether, we analyze 3 years of IFCO activities, and sometimes there is an election process for a new president and a new board. This year, I think that there is a real coherence between these two parts, the academic one and the administrative part. Our academic topic is about the social responsibility of our universities, and during this week, you are also going to elect a new international board and a new president. I would like to propose you to integrate this election process in a broader approach. One, a global reflection about your social responsibility. Second, a global reflection about your social responsibility towards IFCO. And third, a global reflection about IFCO social responsibility as an international instrument for and of your universities in a global and changing higher education landscape. It's not the moment for discussing about IFCO activities and for giving you my assessment about our common work. You will find these elements in our activities report, and we'll discuss about it in a few days. Nevertheless, I would like to ask you very seriously this question. Today, what is the Federation for? As rectors, how do you perceive its activities and services, and how do your universities and academic colleagues perceive our work? Another way for saying that could be, how do you use IFCO as an international instrument serving and helping your universities? The questions which are asked to your universities are also questions for IFCO and its responsibility from local to global levels. According to me, we are facing three main challenges. First, the deep transformations about the role of our universities in our societies. In a word, we can agree for saying that expectations about our universities have changed those last 2 decades. That is the main justification of our topic. Nowadays, key stakeholders are addressing new issues, such as sustainability, eco-conscious design, but also ethical interest of jobs, and so the new diplomas that we offer. The second challenge is more prospective. It's about new technologies, artificial intelligence, and their impacts on the educational field, the organization of our campuses, the broader impact on our societies, and more specifically, about the jobs of the future. At IFCO office, much thought has been given to these evolutions and to the future shape of educational environment, and we will find in your bag a specific report about this subject. A few days ago,
in a newsletter, the University World News, some colleagues wrote, as the debate about the potential impact of artificial intelligence and automation continues, we are getting used to opposing predictions, either doom-laden predictions of mass unemployment or more positive predictions of a new wave of jobs being created. Although there are no definitive answers yet, automation will clearly have a significant impact on tasks, roles, jobs, and employment. And they conclude, now is the time to be thinking the unthinkable about preparing students and the current workforce for an uncertain future, creating new jobs and businesses, supporting the unemployed in a fair, dignified, and straightforward manner that supports their search for opportunities and funding the transitions from this economy to future ones. The key to all of this is education. The third challenge is quite different. It is about the consequence of a long process. We live, your universities are living in a competitive field at both national and international levels. There is a global market of higher education with many rankings, but day after day, we can see a process where education and diplomas become more and more commodities and less a common good. Existing universities and even Catholic universities have to compete with each other for ever-dwindling resources, be they financial, human, or intangible. Not all universities have the means to prosper, whether for geographical, historical, political, or financial reasons. And even among Catholic universities, some have real economic or political clout when others are in difficulties. How do we organize solidarity among us at the international level? How do we differentiate ourselves from this approach? I think this is one of the issues raised by the launch of an IFCU repository on the social responsibility of our universities. This social responsibility of our universities, in other words, their community engagement, represents extensions of the educational work of faculty members of universities and integrates activities that are tied to the institution missions to preserve, transmit, and generate knowledge, and that are for the direct benefit of external audiences. Social responsibility and community engagement may include professional activities by faculty, teaching distance education classes, conducting research in the community and broader society, teaching service learning courses that engage students in educational and meaningful community service that benefits the community. So we understand that there is need for objectives that transcends the disciplines. Employers and academicians yearn for students who are able to integrate knowledge, communicate, collaborate, display critical thinking, understand other perspectives, and be active participants in a democratic society. It means that universities must become a partner in the search for answers to our most pressing social, civic, economic, and moral problems, and must affirm their historical commitment to what Ernest Boyer has called the scholarship of engagement. It means also, as Peter de Craig wrote it, that our universities must become transformed institutions that have to be able, one, to adapt to the new nature of knowledge that is characterized by the mobility of knowledge and knowledge workers. Second, the continuous change and transformation of the knowledge base, the growing significance of learning to individuals and enterprises seeking to remain competent and competitive, and finally, the enormous pressures to make knowledge productive in the economic, social, and civic spheres. All these challenges oblige us to think in new ways, to mobilize our intellectual traditions, to be creative in order to reflect about the specificities of our Catholic identities. But as those challenges are global, international, I think that our universities, your universities, need a global space for thinking about these evolutions. It's up to you to decide if IFCU can be this space of dialogue creativity, and advocacy. And I hope that it is in this perspective that you will live these days. I mean your common reflection about your social responsibilities and our common responsibility all together in IFCU, including your understanding of what means the election process. I thank you. Alors, je vais maintenant appeler deux personnes pour les conférences inaugurales, si elles veulent bien venir à la tribune. Vous intervenez à deux. Donc, il y aura une intervention à deux voix pour l'Université catholique de Lille. Je laisse mon ancien collègue Benoît Bourrel se présenter lui-même et je voudrais dire deux mots, bien sûr, de présentation sur Thérèse Lebrun et sur Isabelle Capello-Agile. Je pense que beaucoup d'entre vous connaissent Thérèse Lebrun. Thérèse a été président-recteur de l'Université catholique de Lille de 2003 à 2012. Elle est président-recteur délégué au pôle santé sociale depuis 2012. Elle a été, comme vous vous en souvenez sans doute, vice-présidente de la FIUC de 2009 à 2015. Thérèse est docteure en sciences économiques, elle est économiste de la santé et investie dans bien des domaines sociaux, à la fois au titre de ses responsabilités à l'intérieur de l'Église de l'Université catholique de Lille, mais également comme experte évaluatrice pour les politiques publiques et notamment pour les politiques publiques dans la région nord de France. Et ce n'est une surprise pour personne si je dis que Thérèse est sans doute une des grandes figures du catholicisme social en France et bien plus largement en Europe. Je me permettrai d'ajouter juste un mot personnel. Dans ma carrière, j'estime que ça a été un honneur et un privilège d'avoir été embauché il y a quelques années par Thérèse lorsqu'elle était la présidente de l'Université catholique de Lille. Ça reste encore aujourd'hui parmi mes meilleurs souvenirs professionnels et je voulais t'en remercier très profondément, Thérèse. Isabelle Capello-Agile est actuellement présidente de l'Université catholique du Portugal, après avoir été vice-recteur pour la recherche et l'internationalisation dans la même université. Elle a un parcours, je dirais, à la fois personnel et professionnel extrêmement riche dans le domaine international, dans le domaine interculturel. Alors, je ne vais pas reprendre l'ensemble de ces publications parce qu'elles sont extrêmement nombreuses, ni l'ensemble de ces recherches, mais par rapport au thème qui est le nôtre, je voudrais souligner ces travaux particulièrement importants dans les domaines de la culture, de l'art et de la citoyenneté, où la dimension interculturelle a été bien évidemment particulièrement bien traitée. Et puis un autre thème qui me tient particulièrement à cœur eu égard à mon propre cursus, autre thème qui est lié à la diversité et au conflit. Je voudrais ajouter que l'Université catholique du Portugal, grâce à Isabelle, a été l'une des premières en Europe, parmi nos universités catholiques, mais de manière plus globale, dans le monde universitaire, à s'investir sur le sujet, monsieur le cardinal, que vous évoquiez il y a un instant, à savoir la question des réfugiés et des migrants. Et c'est d'ailleurs à ce titre que vous avez participé, pour notre plus grand bonheur, à cette conférence internationale que nous avons organisée à Rome, sous l'égide de mon collègue Loïc Roche, qui en a été le grand ordonnateur, il y a quelques mois, en novembre. Et puis, ce thème de la responsabilité sociale des universités, vous l'avez également particulièrement bien traité au moment du 50e anniversaire de votre université. Et c'est également à ce titre qu'il y a déjà longtemps, je m'étais permis de vous solliciter. Donc, merci beaucoup à toutes les deux pour votre présence et nous nous réjouissons de vous écouter sur ces sujets sur lesquels votre expertise et votre légitimité sont particulièrement fortes. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, François, pour ces mots sympathiques. et merci aussi de nous honorer de ce qu'on appelle la conférence inaugurale. Le temps nous est compté et je suis très heureuse d'être avec Benoît Bourrel, qui est biologiste, qui a été doyen de notre faculté de sciences et technologies, faculté qui a l'originalité de s'être mariée avec la faculté de sciences économiques et de gestion pour former une faculté de gestion, économie et sciences. Pour quelle raison? Parce qu'avec Benoît, nous avons dans les années 2000 lancé toute une stratégie de notre université en matière de développement durable et responsable et que l'on s'est rendu compte que c'était un domaine extrêmement interdisciplinaire et que dans la crise qui était évoquée tout à l'heure, une crise à la fois sociétale et environnementale, il était important d'aborder ces questions de manière pluridisciplinaire. Et puis tout à l'heure, on disait aussi l'importance que les hommes et les femmes puissent contribuer à la vie de tous les jours. Donc vous voyez, nous avons choisi de venir un homme et une femme devant vous et j'ai plaisir à travailler avec Benoît depuis de très nombreuses années. Nous avons partagé notre intervention en 2 temps. Tout d'abord, il est important, cela a été dit tout à l'heure, de rappeler l'histoire. Nous ne venons pas de rien et lorsque aujourd'hui Benoît est vice-recteur à la responsabilité sociétale des universités, c'est aussi parce qu'au cours du temps, d'autres avant nous, ou au cours de nos mandats, avons fait évoluer les questions en fonction de l'évolution des questions de la société. Et je pense qu'il ne faut jamais oublier l'histoire et pouvoir remettre les éléments dans leur contexte. Et donc très rapidement, à travers quelques slides qui vont passer derrière moi, vous verrez qu'au cours des années, nous avons adapté aux questions de la société le développement de notre université. Cette université est née en 1875, créée par des chefs d'entreprise visionnaires et catholiques qui voulaient fonder cette université avec 3 missions: former des enseignants, former leurs collaborateurs et leurs salariés comme chefs d'entreprise, ce qui veut dire que nous aurons très vite des écoles professionnelles, professionnalisantes, qu'on appelle aujourd'hui grandes écoles de business ou d'ingénieurs, mais aussi des écoles en matière de soins ou en matière de travail social ou de communication, par exemple. Et puis leur 3e volonté, pour des raisons historiques que je ne vais pas développer ici compte tenu du temps, ils ont également lancé tout un développement sur le prendre soin des malades et des personnes vulnérables, soit à cause du handicap mental, par exemple, soit à cause de la santé des enfants dans l'indigence, parce que les villes du nord de la France étaient particulièrement dans des situations de précarité à certains moments de notre histoire industrielle. Ce qui fait que dès l'avènement, nous aurons une tradition facultaire, une tradition professionnalisante et une tradition hospitalière. Cette université s'est toujours voulue ouverte et ancrée dans son territoire, mais également très internationale, et elle a la chance d'être complètement pluridisciplinaire puisqu'elle touche absolument toutes les disciplines. Elle compte aujourd'hui quelques 30 000 étudiants. On verra qu'au cours des années, nous allons souhaiter mettre l'accent de recteur en recteur, de projet en projet, de vision en vision et d'équipe en équipe, parce que ce sont des équipes bien sûr qui travaillent et pas seulement un recteur. Nous avons souligné certains points. Dans les années 60-70, une pédagogie structurante de l'être humain par l'accompagnement et l'apprentissage, et une ouverture à l'international qui était dans les années 60 originale. Aujourd'hui, c'est une évidence. Dans les années 80, la poursuite de l'ouverture internationale et l'analyse de toutes les grandes mutations socio-économiques apparues dès le milieu des années 70 et pour lesquelles nous écrirons beaucoup d'articles, d'ouvrages, mais nous irons transmettre dans le grand public également, parce que l'université doit transmettre, et pas seulement aux étudiants, par exemple. Nous avons lancé également une recherche qui a été une recherche-action pour une pratique chrétienne et éthique d'une économie en mutation. Et cela, nous l'avons fait sous l'égide de Michel Falise, qui fut recteur de notre université de 1979 à 1991, mais qui fut aussi président de la FIUC et l'un des fondateurs de notre fédération européenne. Michel Fallis disait deux choses. Il disait beaucoup de choses, mais j'en ai retenu pour partager deux. Il disait « Les contraintes d'aujourd'hui seront les degrés de liberté de nos actions de demain ». Et il nous disait aussi « Il vaut mieux des micro-réalisations positives et dynamiques plutôt que des macro-contemplations moroses ». Et donc, nous avions à agir. Dans les années 90, outre le fait que nous avons modernisé l'université, recherché des moyens, lancé des campagnes de fundraising, ce qui était tout nouveau, en tout cas en France, on s'était inspiré du Canada, nous avons voulu renforcer la formation humaine et sociale dans tous les secteurs, notamment dans les sciences de l'ingénieur et du business. Et nous avons développé des projets autour du sport et de la santé pour les étudiants, en assumant notre propre suivi de la vie étudiante, à travers la restauration, le sport, la santé et le logement. Dans les années 2000, nous avons voulu ouvrir encore davantage l'université à tous ces environnements politiques, sociaux, économiques, culturels, religieux, et nous avons lancé des problématiques liées à l'entrepreneuriat, avec Benoît au développement durable et responsable, liées aussi au handicap, au vieillissement, et nous avons poursuivi l'analyse des mutations socio-économiques. Nous irons jusqu'à contribuer à l'aménagement du territoire en lien avec les collectivités territoriales en développant sur 15 hectares en métropole lilloise, près de l'un de nos sites hospitaliers, un nouveau quartier de vie et de ville dédié au mieux vivre ensemble, dans un développement durable et responsable, dans une diversité et une mixité de populations et d'activités. Nous y accueillons notamment des personnes fragiles et vulnérables à cause du handicap, de la perte d'autonomie ou de la vieillesse. Dans ce quartier de 15 hectares, chaque jour aujourd'hui se rencontrent 5000 personnes, étudiants, soignants, habitants, résidents handicapés, patients, enseignants-chercheurs, entreprises et services. Et ces gens contribuent à des actions communes. Ce quartier que l'on a appelé Humanicité est un living lab, un laboratoire vivant de l'innovation sociétale de notre université, qui en a fait un lieu de formation et de recherche, de soins et d'accompagnement, mais aussi de participation inclusive à un mieux vivre ensemble au sein des villes intenses du XXIe siècle. Ce projet s'est déployé et se déploiera entre 2002 et 2020. Il a reçu le prix Siat ut Serviat de la FIUC à Melbourne en juillet 2015 et nous en sommes reconnaissants. Mon successeur, dans les années 2010, nous a lancés sur des voies de créativité, d'innovation, de co-élaboration, de co-design, comme il nous le dit, en développant toutes sortes de living labs, non seulement dans l'innovation en matière de santé ou sociétale, mais aussi d'innovation pédagogique, d'innovation technologique. Au fond, il nous dit, une université ne doit pas seulement regarder les humains nager dans la piscine et étudier cela. Une université ne doit pas seulement plonger dans la piscine avec les humains pour étudier cela, mais Benoît ajoute, une université doit devenir piscine pour expérimenter avec les étudiants et avec tous les acteurs toutes les nouvelles modalités, toutes les nouvelles questions, tous les nouveaux défis qui ont été rappelés par les personnes qui nous ont précédés, qui nous atteignent. Nous venons de créer il y a 2 ans un laboratoire multidisciplinaire et labellisé par le ministère français qui s'appelle Ethics, comme Experiment, Transhumanism, Human Interactions, Care and Society, avec des coopérations, y compris avec notamment l'Université catholique de Lyon. Nous avons également porté l'accent concrètement sur l'expérience étudiante apprenante au sein d'écosystèmes innovants, d'un campus créatif, de Living Lab de l'université, et nous y adjoignons très récemment l'art, la culture et le design qui nous semblent déterminants. Ceci fut dit également tout à l'heure. Passons maintenant à quelques présentations concrètes de cette activité d'ancrage dans un territoire en transition énergétique et sociétale, et c'est Benoît qui en a la charge dans notre université.
Merci Thérèse. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'une université ancrée dans son territoire? J'ai illustré, moi, différemment, plutôt avec des images. Thérèse est plutôt dans le texte. En fait, une université fonctionne comme une petite ville, qui est soit dans une grande ville, soit à côté de la ville, selon qu'elle est intégrée dans un centre urbain, plus ou moins diffus, de manière plus ou moins diffuse, ou en périphérie. Ce qui est certain, c'est que l'université est connectée à la ville, elle est intégrée à la ville, elle doit être considérée complètement comme un acteur d'un écosystème, un acteur de cette ville, de l'économie de la ville, des relations de la ville et de son fonctionnement. Dans cette université, il y a des usagers, il y a des personnes qui y habitent, qui étudient, qui y travaillent, qui étudient notamment les étudiants qui représentent un formidable potentiel de créativité, d'inventivité. Ils sont générateurs d'activité, les étudiants. Ils sont plus ou moins intégrés au tissu social, au tissu culturel du quartier, souvent sur une partie de l'année, voilà, en dehors de laquelle les quartiers universitaires tournent souvent au ralenti. L'université, donc, elle impacte fortement son territoire. Elle génère un dynamisme économique, un dynamisme créatif. Elle participe évidemment à l'attractivité du lieu, mais elle génère aussi quelques externalités négatives de la mobilité, des déplacements. Elle entraîne parfois une déstructuration de l'offre de logement local. Ça, c'est des choses que l'on connaît à Lille. Et cette université, finalement, gère son foncier, elle gère son parc immobilier, elle chauffe des bâtiments chez nous, elle les climatise ailleurs, elle les exploite, elle les rénove, elle les construit, elle apporte des services culturels, des services sportifs, de la restauration, des services de santé. Comme le disait Thérèse, une université, parfois, devient un expérimentateur, devient démonstratrice. Et donc, elle participe localement à les modalités, à la définition des modalités de transition économique, environnementale ou encore sociale. L'université est évidemment un haut lieu de production de connaissances, de recherche, de formation au service de la société. L'université favorise le débat, elle favorise le partage de connaissances, elle engage sa responsabilité pour un développement durable et responsable. Elle doit probablement aussi jouer le rôle d'influenceur, agir au sein des réseaux d'universités, mais aussi des réseaux d'entreprises, des territoires. Elle se doit d'être en veille et elle se doit d'être exemplaire sur des questions qui engagent l'avenir de l'humanité et de la planète. Je vais illustrer mes propos avec une photographie de l'université catholique. Donc une photographie, c'est forcément quelque chose qui est cadré sur un sujet, ce n'est pas complet par définition. C'est une photographie d'une université en transition énergétique, en transition sociétale. L'Université catholique de Lille met en œuvre depuis 2014 son programme d'orientation dans la troisième révolution industrielle. Ce programme s'appelle Live Tree. Live Tree veut dire Lille, Vauban-et-Kerme, c'est le nom de notre quartier. Lille, Vauban-et-Kerme en transition énergétique, économique et écologique. Pourquoi avoir donné le nom du quartier à ce programme? Parce que même si ce programme est né dans le cerveau d'universitaire au départ, dès le départ, nous nous sommes dit, nous allons aller vers les acteurs du quartier, les habitants, les acteurs économiques, pour leur proposer de prendre part à notre projet. Cette université donc vise un objectif d'exemplarité. Cela implique une modification de sa propre gestion, de sa propre organisation. Elle développe donc des nouveaux services de mobilité douce et décarbonée, des bornes de recharge, des véhicules électriques, de services, des flottes de vélos. Elle améliore la performance énergétique de ses bâtiments. Elle les rénove, elle les rend intelligents. Elle passe d'un entretien classique des locaux à des modèles d'économie circulaire, du recyclage de papier en circuit court, du travail en journée des équipes de nettoyage, des jardins partagés. Tout cela impliquant, pour les jardins partagés, des étudiants. Pour avancer sur ces actions, eh bien, il faut à la fois une ligne directrice et la capacité de décider et d'investir. Donc l'université a mis en place un comité de la responsabilité sociétale d'université qui regroupe les grandes directions, ressources humaines, direction financière, direction des moyens généraux, direction technique avec le vice-recteur. Cela, évidemment, démontre l'importance de la gouvernance dans la transformation même de l'université qui se doit d'être exemplaire sur ces questions. Cette université se dote d'un bâtiment démonstrateur, expérimentateur, que l'on appelle le rhizome. Le rhizome comme cette racine, vous savez, qui crée du lien, qui est un lien entre des plantes. Ce bâtiment est un expérimentateur socio-technique de la performance énergétique. C'est un bâtiment qui a été complètement transformé, isolé, dont les systèmes électriques ont été changés. Il est équipé de 1200 mètres carrés de panneaux photovoltaïques de manière à auto-consommer l'électricité que l'on produit et charger des véhicules électriques. C'est un bâtiment d'enseignement et de recherche. Ce bâtiment va inviter ses usagers à développer des comportements pro-environnementaux, car les usagers auront à de multiples reprises la possibilité d'interagir avec le bâtiment et de gérer, par exemple, leur propre confort. Nous avons recruté, il y a 3 semaines, une nouvelle personne, un nouveau métier, celui de manager de la performance, de l'énergie et du bâtiment, qui va être à l'interface entre les services techniques, les usagers, les chercheurs et la technologie embarquée dans le bâtiment. Notre point de vue là-dessus est que cette transition n'est pas seulement technique, mais doit donner une place importante aux personnes, à l'humain, qui ne doit pas être embarqué dans un système de données. Les chercheurs sont évidemment mobilisés sur cette transition énergétique, et là nous hybridons les sciences de l'ingénieur et les sciences humaines et sociales. Quelle utilité de ces nouvelles technologies? Quelles utilisations? Comment les usagers se les approprient? Et au final, donc, quels usages vont-ils en faire? Toutes les données que le bâtiment va produire, comment allons-nous également les utiliser, notamment pour produire de l'information vers les usagers. Voilà, donc nous sommes au cœur des questions socio-techniques qui se posent aujourd'hui dans tous les domaines de l'innovation. Donc ce bâtiment, c'est un objet de recherche, c'est un objet de formation pluridisciplinaire dans lequel nous cherchons à ce que la technologie soit mise au service de l'apprentissage. Ce bâtiment accueille la faculté dont parlait Thérèse tout à l'heure, la faculté de gestion, économie et sciences, qui est elle-même hybride et qui crée une nouvelle unité de recherche sur la ville durable et intelligente avec plusieurs piliers, l'entrepreneuriat social, l'écologie urbaine et enfin la transition énergétique et numérique. Cette faculté développe aussi des nouvelles formations et de la recherche sur les usages et les comportements et les nouveaux modèles économiques. Nous développons aussi des services à la société, des prestations auprès de collectivités ou d'entreprises, et nous sommes très impliqués dans des réseaux et dans des groupes de travail régionaux. Alors, autre dimension, l'université anime avec le conseil de quartier, de ce quartier Vauban-et-Carme, une démarche participative pour initier des projets qui, du coup, sont co-portés par l'université et des habitants, des associations, le conseil du quartier. Des projets très concrets sont en train de sortir depuis 2 ans à peu près que nous menons cette démarche. Un projet de tiers-lieu, donc un lieu dans lequel vont se développer des nouvelles activités, vont se produire des rencontres entre les acteurs du quartier. Un lieu que l'on appelle un repair café qui va permettre de réparer des objets par des réparateurs bénévoles et de transmettre des expériences, de transmettre des compétences, donc une dimension d'apprenance également là derrière. Et ce projet est très très important pour nous à l'université. Alors, en prenant du recul, que représente cette photographie? En fait, cette photographie représente une forme de réseau maillé, de réseau coopératif, un réseau évolutif, c'est loin d'être figé, et un réseau apprenant. Il y a une orientation commune qui est celle du programme de transition énergétique et sociétale. Il y a des éléments dans cet écosystème, il y a des éléments physiques, c'est notre quartier, ce sont des bâtiments, ce sont des réseaux. Et bien sûr, il y a l'ensemble de l'organisation, ce que j'appelle l'organisation vivante. C'est la gouvernance, ce sont les usagers, ce sont les étudiants. Voilà. Donc nous cherchons à créer des liens entre les acteurs, à créer des liens entre ces projets et ces dispositifs. Tout cela, vous le voyez, est connecté avec le local, avec le quartier, avec la ville, avec les entreprises et avec le global, avec le national et l'international. C'est ce maillage coopératif et la vision qui est sans cesse rappelée qui fait finalement la pérennité de ce programme aujourd'hui, qui fait son agilité, son évolution et son impact, dont il conviendra évidemment de trouver les éléments de mesure. Pour conclure maintenant, il est très probable que cette manière de co-construire avec les acteurs locaux soit accessible à toute université, évidemment, dans tout pays, sur tout continent. Pourquoi? Parce qu'elle mobilise des énergies locales, des moyens locaux. Elle cultive son écosystème local, ce qui est un gage de solutions adaptées aux situations locales et créatrices de valeurs partagées au sein de cet écosystème. Voilà. Merci pour votre attention.
Well, okay. Your Eminence, Excellency, Rector Mullaney, Father O'Connelly, President Father Rubens, Cher François, dear colleagues, I feel privileged and humbled to be here today to share with you some thoughts on social responsibility and a couple of concrete, tangible examples of what Catholic University in Portugal does in this regard. Our general meeting convenes around the crucial topic, Catholic universities working in solidarity as responsible agents from the local to the global. The profile of Catholic universities as agents of global solidarity is strategically inscribed in Ex Corde Ecclesia. The nature of the Catholic University is to be, and I quote, an academic community which, in a rigorous and critical fashion, assists in the protection and advancement of human dignity and of a cultural heritage through research, teaching, and various services offered to the local, national, and international communities. But what is the nature of these various services? And how do they speak to the changing concerns of our constituencies? In fact, to speak of the university in broad general terms is perhaps a misnomer, for although what we nowadays define as university and higher education was the creation of the universal church disseminated from Europe throughout the globe, the reality of universities in the US, South America, Asia, or Europe is quite different. So much so that we should phrase our object in the plural and ask why universities still matter. For a federation such as IFCU, this means precisely that general assumptions about the nature, the strategy, and the vision of universities cannot simply be considered as abstract principles, but rather require a situated approach so that what we mean may really matter to the different concerns of our communities. Over a century ago, universities were primarily gatekeepers of the past, preserving tradition as a strategic stepping stone to shape the future. The free cultivation of knowledge for its own sake was nonetheless structured upon rigorous and rule-based normative processes that supported the development of robust research. Individualism and norm-based research were at the heart of the model. Act alone, follow the rules, and you shall thrive. In a sarcastic description of study at Oxbridge, Virginia Woolf famously wrote, "The student who has been trained in research at Oxbridge has no doubt some method of shepherding his question past all distractions till it runs into its answer as a sheep runs into its pen." Despite the sarcasm of the sheepish description, the point is that the dominant structure of knowledge was based on preservation, emulation, and finally transmission, rather than as a forum for innovation and critique. The scholar in this model is shaped after a hermit, locked up in his Scriptoria University, carefully defending a bulk of knowledge to which only certain cultivated elites may have access. Woolf's critique is certainly radical, and it speaks to a moment of transformation of which we are still heirs today. That is, the transformation from a liberal arts model of free reasoning, which was elitist and undoubtedly had its flaws, to a specialization-driven paradigm, connoting technical expertise with social function and impact, but also a transformation from a mostly individualistic model of research and learning towards collective models of research development and even management. John Henry Cardinal Newman's The Idea of a University provides the epitome of the university as an institution deemed to cultivate knowledge for its own end, but not as a haven of acritical emulation. He champions the idea of the university as a community of thinkers engaging in intellectual pursuit, not for any outside purpose, but as end in itself, ultimately forming individuals that through a broad, transversal, liberal education would be able, and I quote Newman, to think and to reason and to compare and to discriminate and to analyze, unquote. He speaks against the narrow specialization and stipulates that students should be taught on a wider, broader dimension. Mutatis mutandis, nowadays, and we heard this from Francois, we're speaking of artificial intelligence, the challenge of jobs. If one of the mantras of artificial intelligence experts is that a job that can be described may be automated, our task in universities leadership is to prepare for a future where the jobs to come have not yet been invented and move to increasingly build bridges between disciplines, of developing in our students the capability to think, understand, and unpack complexity. To provide students with broad competences in both the liberal arts and STEM disciplines, training professionals liable to shape the future and aid in tackling its many challenges, which are environmental and hence social, social and hence political, political and hence cultural. And when it comes to social responsibility, the first challenge will perhaps come from language. One of the laws of pragmatics is that meaning derives from context. And this is the occasion when we speak of social responsibility. Social responsibility is perhaps a loaded signifier because it speaks to different intellectual traditions across distinct interpretive communities. In a nutshell, everyone knows what social responsibility is, and most will arguably mean different things by it. University social responsibility is often considered a spin-off from corporate social responsibility, which for some interpreters in the English-speaking world sometimes carries socialist overtones, and for others is a strong marker of the social doctrine of the Church. In a certain way, the concept gained momentum from the 1970s onwards, particularly since Milton Friedman, in 1970, published a notoriously provocative article in the New York Times, where he argued that social responsibility is a fundamentally subversive doctrine in a free society. In illustrative fashion, the article was titled, "The Social Responsibility of Businesses is to Increase Its Profits." The counterpoint to Friedman's theory was soon to follow. From a strict economic perspective, John Elkington brought forth the notion of the triple bottom line, arguing that concern for society and the environment can coexist with an ambition for profit, while the conscious capitalist movement, inspired by Whole Foods CEO John Mackey, drew on the assumption that there can only be a future for society if businesses contribute to the common good. University social responsibility has evolved out of the university's relevance crisis as well, which became an unwitting Jeremiad from the 1990s onwards, particularly as the traditional organization of knowledge across schools, colleges, and departments began to be challenged by disruptive new disciplines, as new calls for representation began to be heard by groups underrepresented in the scholarly system, and as the complexity of problems faced by societies increasingly required multidisciplinary solutions. The crisis of relevance is often perceived as being driven precisely by the lack of engagement with a third mission, with social impact for some, engagement with businesses, and knowledge transfer for others, with community development. But in order to continue to be relevant, the university cannot be stuck to an idea that may threaten to become barren and empty in the long run. And we heard Cardinal Versaldi speak about the lack of engagement with the humanities, how many universities are changing, shifting to professional development, forgetting the ethical dimension of the humanities. So We need to change, but not to change into something that will let go of the main core idea of what a university is. So it cannot either do away with the principles that have traditionally guided it, the preservation and the advancement of knowledge for the good of society, and neither can it simply resign to becoming a utilitarian institution deemed set on the transmission of simply professional skills. What is then to be done? Balancing principles with needs, a universal drive to gauge the achievements of science and technology, to foster global dignity with the responsibility to act in the communities close to us, Catholic universities will undoubtedly profit from a strategy of what we may call cosmopolitan exchange, mediated by networks such as IFCU that may provide differentiated approaches to tangible, concrete problems, keeping in mind that no matter how excellent or sound academic efforts are always provincial endeavors that seek to find tentative answers to a world that does not stop at our own borders. University social responsibility may be tentatively defined as the strategic commitment to consider wider society as a stakeholder of the university and to act accordingly. Throughout the globe, a wide variety of projects have been effectively seeking to define and deliver research action models for the social responsibility of higher education institutions and measure their progress. University ranking institutions such as U-Multirank in Europe and more recently QS have begun to rank institutions. We'll go further and then come back to this, I hope. Okay. I have to go slowly. Okay. So I was talking about U-Multirank and QS. QS has begun to rank institutions according to social responsibility markers with the intent of allowing institutions to monitor the implementation of these measures. QS has defined a methodology that links or that works these specific 4 markers. The first one, community investment and development, focused on the development of the region surrounding the campus, and we heard the excellent example of Lille. The second one focused on charity work and disaster relief, which is focused on measuring the awareness of the institution for external issues, the migration crisis, for instance, or catastrophic events. So here we already see the local on the one hand, the global on the other. Thirdly, regional human capital development, which speaks to the percentage of students employed in the community and the contribution of alumni to the region. And fourth, environmental impact, which measures the level of awareness regarding environmental impact, the sustainable campus, whether the university has a sustainability web page, an energy conservation program, and so on. But more importantly than QS, I wish to point, of course, to IFCU's flagship project, which was began in 2017, aimed towards the development of a reference framework on social responsibility at Catholic universities. And this is truly something that we were speaking about, working in solidarity, working together to further our goals as universities. This is certainly an area where we can profit from the expertise that IFCU has been developing. One of the things that I wanted to show is that in the QS ranking, it was the so-called religious-oriented institutions, the Università di Tendenze, that have a higher profile in that ranking. And we would expect to have a lot of Catholic universities there. But that is not the case. We have more Islamic universities in that ranking. So this truly means that this is an area that where we have to up our game. Because, I must say, because of our nature and our identity, this is an area where our relevance as Catholic universities is clearly at stake, and where there is a lot more to be done. The Church has consistently appealed to Catholics in all sectors to provide example of their sense of responsibility and their service for the common good, as phrased by the Apostolic Constitution Gaudium et Spes. The Second Vatican Council reminds us that it is our task as Catholics to act across all sectors of society to support the furtherance of humanity and work towards an effective universal community. And as university leaders, we are particularly called forth to work towards this goal. But to do this also in specific and tangible terms. In the audience with the Catholic University of Portugal in October 2017, Pope Francis alluded to the urgent need of universities to descend into the realm of the tangible. He inspired us to think of the tangibility of the truth that we all seek as scholars because, as he said, truth stands for something more than erudition. Universities are then urged to consider the tangibility of their research and teaching models. He said, we should ask ourselves, how can we ask our students to avoid viewing a university degree as synonymous with a higher position, increased affluence, or higher social standing? They are not synonymous. Are we helping them to view their training as a sign of their greater responsibility in the face of the problems of today, towards the poorest among us, towards the environment? Providing analysis and descriptions of reality is not enough. It is also necessary to generate spaces of genuine research and debates that generate alternatives to the problems of today. It is imperative to descend into the realm of the tangible. This urgent determination to be concrete, pragmatic, and action-driven, to promote strategies that will educate students to really improve the lives of our fellow humans, requires as well a strong focus on the training of educators. Our faculty must be inspired to blend their wealth of knowledge with the universal sense of the Catholic community of belief, while acting as responsible masters of risk, as the Pope mentioned in his address to the World Education Congress in 2015. Because, in fact, a university is never a fully rounded accomplishment, it is to be understood as a project and as a risky one at that, with educators as guides in this process. The Pope reminded us in this audience that a university, despite its universal vocation, cannot forfeit its local grounding. It is, and I quote, incarnated in the flesh of our people, and their struggles, their concerns, and their dreams have an hermeneutic value that cannot be forgotten. In his address, Pope Francis outlined the vision of the university that does not simply conceive of social responsibility as a third pillar alongside research and teaching, but that in fact articulates it as part and parcel of both the nature of the university and the substantive notion of its Catholic identity. Social responsibility is then much more than the third pillar or the third mission. It defines what a Catholic university is as well. In teaching and research, it is reflected in a holistic dialogue amongst the several fields of knowledge and between them and society at large. A socially responsible university is also person-centered, focused on empowering and learning from our knowledge communities, students, faculty, and staff. And finally, it is geared in all its activities to serve the common good without forsaking the tangible and localized issues of the local or the regional and national communities universities are embedded in and whose voices want to be heard. So now a couple of examples from the Catholic University of Portugal. We have recently been invited to become the founding institution of the Portuguese Observatory for Social Responsibility in Higher Education Institutions, and to guide you through the many areas where we work on social responsibility that is conceived both as a bottom-down and a top-up initiative. It's something that is built into the strategic policy of the university, but that is also worked through the many initiatives that are fostered by the students, by the academic communities, by volunteers, by our faculty. So in teaching, for instance, a couple of examples, we have created the Social Economy Framework Initiative, which provides training for NGOs, which provides education for smaller communities, and it is anchored, this social economy framework initiative, it is driven from the business school in Lisbon, but with pillars in all the 15 faculties of the university. And another aspect of this initiative is to foster and implement social responsibility strategies in companies. As part of the teaching model, the liberal arts curriculum was an initiative that was devised 3 years ago, I must say, to prompt students to leave their comfort areas in the core disciplines of their degrees and to, in mandatory fashion, take seminars outside their disciplinary node. Let's say all business and economic students need to take philosophy or humanities courses, and the same goes for philosophy students. Will have to engage in courses that are offered by the Institute of Health Sciences or any other area. So this was one initiative. We developed other projects that were intent on creating specific disciplines that were interdisciplinary, and this would not work. I mean, specific disciplines that are interdisciplinary are viewed sometimes with a sort of suspicion by students. When their electives, when they have a number of electives that will forcefully need to be taken outside their core curriculum, then this is where this transdisciplinary engagement occurs. As far as research development is concerned, one of the policies that we are extremely passionate about is to disseminate the scientific knowledge we develop at the university to the community. One such example is in the circular economy is a network that was devised out of our School of Biotechnology on food safety. It's a flagship initiative called the Safe Food Consortium that not only researches but teaches the community on how to prevent disease and how to develop a more healthy food system. A good example of this consortium was that one of our researchers was successful in inscribing into the National Health Initiative, an initiative to prevent listeria or listeriosis, which in Europe is the disease that has the 5th largest death toll. It's something that sometimes falls under the radar. This is the consortium. It's national and international as well. These are now the third pillar is empowering the university community and training. Some of the initiatives that we have, one that is focused on region, it's called My Square Kilometer, and it's geared towards the development of initiatives, social development initiatives around the area of the campus in Lisbon. We work with ReFood, which is an NGO that caters to help the homeless through a project of circular economy. There are projects of engagement with the elderly, the Common House Initiative, which is one of the flagship initiatives on student volunteer work with the African migrant communities, where students go into these communities and live with them for a whole year. It's not simply going in and working together, but actually living in the community for a full year. The Pope Francis Fund, let me just single out, was our offer to the Pope when we met with the Pope in October. We felt that there was much more that the university as a whole needed to do to support migrants, other than looking at the causes, working with NGOs, doing volunteer work, but we need to include those who are in need, those in our communities, but also those who flee war and famine. So through fundraising and investment of funds of the university, we created the Pope Francis Fund, which is geared towards supporting low-income students, migrants, and refugees. And a final example of inclusion, the Hand That Sings choir was an inclusion program for dumb and deaf students taking our bachelor degree in Portuguese Sign Language. And this is from the Pope Francis Fund, and yes, this is the Hands That Sing. It's one of the cultural initiatives that we are most proud of. They have truly changed the profile and the perception of the dumb and deaf in Portuguese society. And the maestro, one of our colleagues at the university who leads this group, has been doing this for 3 years, makes us very proud. I will just finish. I know I'm over time. We also have some environmental initiatives that I will skip, and an initiative to place culture at the heart of the knowledge-producing model of the university. I'll leave you with this. This is the Dove of Peace, which is made out of recycled materials. It's a street art project, as many others, that is placed at the heart of the university. The challenges for Catholic universities are thus, as we've seen, axiological, epistemological, and cultural. As Pope Francis asks in the encyclica Laudato Si', it is also our job as educators to think of the kind of world we wish to leave to those who come after us, to the children growing up who will become our students in the future. The mission of the university is played out in reaching out to the community beyond the borders of our colleges, preserving the ecological present of our common house so that those who come after may have a future. The splendor of our present is that never in history have we had the technological possibilities of being so close to those who are far away, of having access to amazing archives, to science data throughout the globe. Never before in the past have we had such amazing possibilities of cultivating science to defend human dignity. The challenge is precisely of using this power to move towards ever more inclusive universities. Thank you.
Muito obrigado. Thank you so much, Isabel, and thank you also to Thérèse and to Benoit for that inaugural conference. We have had some good food for the mind, and now we shall proceed to have some food for the soul, and thereafter we will have some food for the body. We are very Catholic, and we're committed to integral human development on all levels. Now, we're not running too late, we're running about 15 minutes, but we will, because the weather has held up nicely, I think we will all assemble in the main square, and there will be stewards to tell us what to do and when to process. Meanwhile, priests who wish to vest, to celebrate, will go in through the main entrance and turn right, and they will find a room there where they can vest. Please, can I draw your attention to the book which has the texts for the liturgy, the liturgies, our Eucharistic celebrations for the entire week. You will find them here in the 3 languages. So please bring this book with you when you are coming to celebrate each day. So thank you again for your attention, thank you for your patience, and we will now gather in the main square.
C'est pareil. Mais alors, à un moment, il y en a qui se fâchaient. Alors, oui, là. Merci. Bonjour, ça va bien? Merci, Monseigneur.
Is this the same laptop? Exactly the same laptop that we're using, exact same connections, yeah. Unless the cable wasn't in fully, maybe. That is odd. Very odd.
We're going to just use HDMI?
I think so, yeah. And what I'm going to try to do tomorrow is get everything onto the local PC